right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. We got 3 reviews up this week. In case you missed like Friday's show or any of my news updates, my laptop is currently in the repair shop, pending finding out what the bloody hell happened to it. But since that happened early Friday morning. And Friday evening, we were supposed to take a look at the game Skydrift Infinity. Since that was unable to happen, that review has been delayed into November. It's not going to take that long to fix the laptop. That's just kind of how the review slate shapes up sometimes. But anyway, we still have 3 games up for review. The first of which is Path of the Martyrs. Path of the Martyrs is an emotional sci-fi JRPG. You are a knight that must protect your princess. After she passes away from a mysterious illness, you must go to a science laboratory to discover the cause of her death by reliving your memories that brought you to the very moment she passed away. So that is what its initial
I am not going to impugn the writing or anything or even the game systems because I do not know anything about that. But aesthetically, this looks like someone just put together a JRPG in Flash.
RPG Maker specifically.
I know, but it looks like old Flash animation style art.
Yeah, I suppose we should address that up front. There's no getting around it. The art looks bad.
I'm not even saying that's terrible. It's a very particular look and kind of awkward.
Yeah. I don't it really doesn't come across as a stylistic choice. At least not to me. I don't think they were going for early Flash.
Yeah, if it's a stylistic choice, it's a very unusual stylistic choice.
I mean, I really don't know who goes and says, let's make a game that looked like it was from 2006.
Yeah, it would probably be, you'd probably either go for like actual retro if you want to put in a little more effort and have it look good with limited power and stuff. Like the limited frames of animation and stuff looks better if the art is more pixely.
Yeah. It's like, I will, in fairness, note that I don't know how professional this game is because, it's an RPG Maker game. I don't know how old it is. It's like its Steam release date doesn't necessarily mean anything because there's been a trend on Steam that we really haven't talked about until now, but a lot of freeware RPG Maker games like Yume Nikki and the like have been remade for Steam. The problem is those remakes are put up for money. When the classic versions are still there or still around. And I can't say if that's following in that trend. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was the case. Or if, I'm just noting that not necessarily the case here, but, this game probably would have been better as a freeware title. It's not bad.
Like I said, the criticism I was saying has nothing to do with the story or game systems or anything. It's just it's a really strong first impression you get by looking at it.
Yeah, it really doesn't leave a strong first impression, or it's kind of a sour one. The story, the actual narrative is pretty strong. I'd say its big problem is the pacing because the flashbacks are extended things where not a whole lot happens gameplay wise. And they can get tedious quickly. I found that to be the case in other JRPGs and that do this kind of thing. The combat system is at once fairly simple and probably overcomplicated. Like, there's a lot going on in terms of mechanics. Like, there's, I'm trying to remember, like 3 different sets of mechanics in terms of special attacks. Like, now, like, its basic combat system is your, I'd say, fairly typical rock paper scissors elemental proceeding that you see in a lot of JRPGs. This one made it a core feature. That is to say, it's surrounded around 3 elements: fire, thunder, lightning, and water, ice. And let's see if I'm remembering. Fire. Let's see. Fire goes into ice. Ice goes into thunder. Thunder goes into fire.
Ah, so they're doing it the Mega Man X way, or
yeah.
no, Mega Man Zero way.
Yeah. And at the start, you are given 3 weapons to combat the various creatures. And I will say it is nice that if you are facing a foe of a same or not weakness element, you can switch to the weapon as a free move. So it's like if you got the lightning sword out and you need to fight the fire creature, you can switch to the ice rod, and it doesn't take a turn. And like I said, as far as the actual, combat is broken up into spells, skills, and I'm trying to remember what they call, like, sacrificial arts. Mainly, I never.
Arts.
There we go. But yeah, that's like you have to sacrifice a certain amount of hit points, if I'm remembering correctly, to do them. I never, I remember it's sacrificing a certain something. Like I said, there's a lot to those. Admittedly, I think there was too much, or at least too much too soon in terms of abilities. Because you get at least a whole lot of options seemingly at the surface, but like your actual picks are limited in the beginning. And the actual skills and spells, they operate off of the Super Mario RPG coefficient. That is to say, they are timed hits. At least in the beginning, they will switch it up a bit later on. And I can't say for the better. The next tier has the fucking tapping spells. You got to tap repeatedly to make it more powerful. I never liked those. But your more basic things have have the bar timer and the circle timer.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently those are pretty standard features of RPG Maker. Like I said, it's all fairly solid in terms of foundational, but and they do try to explain everything. It's not, it's done in tutorial text, and like I said, I didn't really bother finding the nuance of the combat skills, at least in my playtime. Mentally, I had to stop because, once again, computer problems this week. But I played enough to get a robust idea of what this game offers. And, it's like, coding-wise, it's a bit slipshod. There were some areas where I could pass through the walls. It's the whole thing kind of is baked with this slightly amateurish quality, in most regards. I will say I think the flat out best part of the game was the soundtrack. Incredible soundtrack, much better than I was expecting. It's I will note on the Steam page, the soundtrack is going for $2. even if you don't buy this game, I would recommend the soundtrack. It's that good. Like, as far as the game itself, like I said, it's solid enough, but my big sticking point's the price. This is going for $10. It's like, I think it's a bit too slipshod for $10. $5 at the most, but really still feeling like this should have been a freeware project. Like, so as it is, like I said, to put it in basics, it's good. It's not $10 good. I'm like, it also does have the bundle of a game and soundtrack that's $10.78. Again, I just recommend the soundtrack on its own. And yeah, I suppose that's about it here. Solid enough, but overpriced. Anything else to add to the discourse here?
I think it's okay from the demo at least.
Yeah, it does have a demo, so you can try before you buy, which is helpful. If I'm remembering, like it is a pretty substantial demo. I think it's about the first hour of the game. Like, another thing that I didn't like, it does the Lost Forever thing. Like, I missed like
that's never fun.
Yeah, because there are codes to optional safes that have access to a golden key card. Unfortunately, like, I was exploring. I went through the progress door, and it fucking didn't tell me, and I didn't know that. Oh, you can't go back. And it's like there's no real excuse for that kind of gameplay in 2021 or whenever, or even at any time in recent times. Like, I would honestly say there was never a justification for that shit, but it's one of those tropes that's increasingly non-justifiable. Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for Path of the Martyrs here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Orbibot. I think that's how that's pronounced.